In a previous video, we talked about the vowels in the Hebrew alphabet, otherwise known as the alphabet. In this video, I want to talk about the letters, how they look, and how they sound. And when we put the vowels that we were talking about in the previous video together with the sounds of the letters, then words are made. A quick introduction though. Some letters have alternate letters and final letters, aka letters that come at the end of a word, and we'll show that in this video. And a quick warning, you're probably going to see my hands in this video. But without further ado, let's get to the first letter. The letter Aleph. It makes no sound. It only makes a sound if a vowel is paired with it. Next letter is Bays. It makes a B sound, like a B. But it also has an alternate letter, a vase, which makes a V sound, like a V. Next letter is Gimel, which makes a G sound, like a G. Next one's Daled, makes a D sound, like a D. How about Hey? Makes a H sound, like a H. Then there's Vav, which makes a V sound, like the vase, like a V. Then there is Zayin, which makes a Z sound, like a Z. Then there is Chet, which makes a Ch sound. There's no really letter in the English alphabet. Makes a Ch sound, but it's more like a guttural sound, a Ch. Then there's Tet, which makes a T sound, like a T. And Yud, which makes a Y sound, like a Y. Then there is Kaf, which makes a K sound, like a K. There's also an alternate letter to it, a Chaf, which makes a Ch sound, just kind of like that Chet. And then there's a final Chaf, the Chaf that comes at the end of a word, also making a Ch. Next, we have Lamed, which makes a L, like an L. Then we have Mem, which makes a M, like an M. There's also a final letter, that is Mem, which also makes a M sound, like an M. Then we have Nun, which makes a N sound, like an N. And there's a final letter, that is Nun, which also makes a N sound. Next we have the Samach, which looks somewhat similar to the final Mem, makes a S sound, like an S. Then we have an Ayin, which like the Aleph doesn't make any sound unless there's a vowel paired with it. Then we have the Pei, which makes a P sound, like a P. But there's an alternate letter to the Pei, which makes a F sound, like an F. And there's a final letter to the Fei, the final Fei, which also makes a F sound, like an F. And there's Tzadi, which makes a T sound, like TZ, T. There's also a final Tzadi, which also makes that sound. Then we have a Kuf, which also makes a K sound, like a K. Then we have Resh, which makes a R sound, like an R. Then we have Shin, which makes a Sh sound, like an SH. But we also have an alternate letter to this Shin, a Sin, which makes a S sound, like an S. Finally, we have a tough, which makes a t sound like a T, and a suf, which makes a s sound like an S. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment down below if you have a question, and I'm planning on making another video which I will combine the vowels with the letters to make words. See you next time.